How you doing, everybody? Uh, I'm sort of sitting a little closer to my microphone. I turned the sound down some because they picked now to do our fall cleanup for the fall cleanup. I think they're just about finished, and but anyway, let me know if the sound is okay, and if it needs to be a little louder, I can move it up. Hey, Tim, how you doing? Um, Oh boy, it sounds like they quieted down. I'm going to turn this up just a little. Hi, Chan Dan. Anywho, um, yeah, I've been seeing some deals on different online sellers, and I was wondering if you guys have seen them too. Hey, Nigel, how you doing? GT, how are you? Everything okay with the sound and video? All right, everything working? If you hear some racket outside, let me know. Like I said, had to move the microphone closer. Skint. What's skint, Nigel? Oh, good. Thanks, GT. Oh, no money. Oh, okay. You must be the only person in the world with no money. Hi, Junior. I'm going to be pretty quick. Dominic, good to see you. I'll tell you every time I see those guys, they have these things on TV. A bunch of guys go into a jewelry store and they have hammers and they're breaking all the glass and grabbing all the watches. And I was wondering, gee, I wonder if any of those guys are subscribers. I had to put signs up in jewelry store. By the way, if you break it in and steal one of these watches, be sure to turn into Watch Art Side. A wristwatch check. Got on my Larique Etude number one. Yeah, me too. Yeah, boy, I tell you, I think I just lucked out. Either the guys with the noisemakers moved to another side of the house, away from the the main noise point. Well, let me kick things off with what I found, and I don't know whether it may have been a holiday thing. A place that we've been talking about called the Watch Outlet. I got an email from them, and they had a whole list of watches that were on a special discount below the normal discount they had. So that's the best one I found. Hey, Goldfinger, how you doing? Um, Trying to think of some other ones. Hey, Brian, how are you? You know, there were two things that we were thinking of talking about. Two ideas. Rancher always comes up with lots of ideas for me for the afternoon. I don't know why my head sort of goes blank. Um, we went and saw Napoleon today. It was sort of an interesting movie, and I was thinking, I'm probably the only person in the theater thinking, didn't Breguet make some watches for Napoleon? And didn't what's his name? Oh, Leroy also made them for Napoleon. Hi, Truman. So anyway, so I'm watching this movie Napoleon, and here at the Battle of Austerlitz, and I thought, gee, I wonder if he had his watch with him then. I'm sure people had other kinds of things they were looking at. My wife and daughter, they're looking at the romantic part. Anywho, okay, guys. Now I had my best deal that I found. Which how about you? He was the best customer, yeah. Before that, before they lobbed off the queen's head, she was a big customer too. There was one that I think Louis Leroy made for her. That was for her boyfriend, who was the Swedish ambassador to France, and she and he were messing around anyway. So she made him a he made a Leroy made a watch for Marie Antoinette to give to her boyfriend, which I thought was sort of a I don't know whether that's more interesting or the one that Brigade just made for her. Both of them are interesting ones. Yeah, yeah, you got a heck of a price on that one. Very good one. Oh, hey, by the way, too, speaking of that again. Hi, Sal. I mean, hi, Mo. Sal to you. Those Frenchmen get around. They do. What was? Oh, that was another thing I was looking at. When I was here, I am watching a movie about this is about Napoleon, his love life, his battles, the French Revolution, and all of that. And I'm thinking again, Chaumet made the Chaumet who made my dandy already open. Oops, sounds like they're coming back again. If the noise gets too loud, let me know. Um, and so on the hill of his sword that he used during his self coronation as emperor was made by um, Ch- Chanel. Wait, Chaumet, by Chaumet. And so again, here I am thinking about watches, the jeweler to the watchmaker to my watch or one of my watches. That okay, and that's what reminds me too. I saw one. I was going to put it up on Watch Art Sci as a really good deal. There's a just a regular Chaumet dandy, nothing fancy about it, but wow, what a good watch! I mean, they have. I'm not. This is the confusing part. I know that on mine they had used an ETA as a base movement, and then had the Agenor module on top for running the Ferris wheel. But I'm not sure if they didn't use other movements. I know that Van Cleef and Arpels for their men's watch, they used Piaget, and I think, but they changed. I don't know if they ever used DTA or any of those, but those are other ones. I think. Boy, I tell you, every time I see a good buy on just a regular Chaumet dandy, I'm always tempted to buy it. I mean, I've got dress watches. I had this one on earlier today, and I switched it. This is a Vesteron Content 10 for those of you who American 1921. This is a neat watch to wear. Since I wound it up, but that'll last the wine will last about 2 days. Oh, good, great. Yes, I've seen a lot of good deals on Joma Shop. I'm glad you brought that up, Tim. Yeah, they have a lot of good deals on that. I didn't get anything. I, I got what I did is that I had saved up some money and I sent it all uh, for my for the next for the what's it called Air Zulu. watch, and I sent it to our new bank up in Ohio. So that was my first payment on a new one. So I'm like um, Nigel. What was that term Nigel used? He's skint. I'm skint now. And then I got Christmas presents. I had to buy my wife sort of a combination birthday present and Christmas present. I had to spend a lot of money on that. I'm skint. Hey, BG. Hey, how are things in Lausanne? That's in France, right? And I'm sorry if I pronounce Lausanne. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's Switzerland. Lausanne. Sorry about that. Has anyone bought a watch from Etsy? I have. I got a great watch from Etsy. I got a gold Dunhill. The reason I got it, it had a Jacquet 736 movement in it. And then also, I think I also got it from Etsy. I got the really nice looking, very expensive, but not on Etsy, gator strap. And I put them together, and my wife took it from me. It's her watch now. So yeah. Hey, Mark, how you doing, man? Good to see you as always. Sorry. Okay, sorry about that, BG. My geography is not up to snuff, I'm afraid. Oh, that's right. What a watch. A Bulgari Gerald Genta Octo by Retro. Mm. That's as much Gerald Genta as it is Daniel Roth, I think. Because I think both of those guys are working there, but that particular, well, I guess no, actually, no, I guess you're right. That is, Genta had some like that too. Great buy. I got a couple of pocket watches off of Etsy. Cool. I got one and I've got to get another pocket watch on sale. Yeah. That's something you got to look out for is that it's on sale now. I've seen that happen. That's really funny. Which watch, Junior, with the Venus 170? Wow. Hey, Truman. VOD is number 19. Okay. Geneva is 27, 22. What does that mean, Truman? I have no idea what. Okay, let's see. Oh, okay, I see. Capital of VOD is the capital of VOD is the capital of the canteen. I once tried to understand everything about Swiss cantons. I feel sorry for the kids who have to take a civics class in Switzerland. I've never seen such a complex mix of things, but interesting. I guess here in the U.S., we've got our 50 states that probably looked as equally convoluted. The number of cantons. They each have a number. You're number 19. You're number 22. Is that how? Wait a minute. Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay, gotcha. Dinardi. Dinardi. I don't know that. I don't know that one. But it's got a Venus 170 movement. That's an interesting one. Pretty much so, Brian. Yeah, pretty much so. But the whole country of Switzerland is very unusual. I mean, you take all of the of all of the countries, I think in Europe, that probably has the most interesting mix of cantons. And then you have four languages. And I think the one that used to be called Roma, I believe, as one of the four languages, is now primarily spoken by Portuguese people who live in the cantons where that's spoken. Geneva's French, where H. Moser is, I think that's a German speaking canton, but I could be wrong. They're really interesting. They're very interesting. And they, and I'll tell you, that's a lot of people in Switzerland. You know, also, too, I found out in Holland when I was at the University of Leiden in the Netherlands, the fact that people spoke more than one language, you know, and they speaking Dutch in addition to English and French and other things. Everyone's got a machine under their beds, Nigel. Oh boy. Have you noticed shopworn pieces went up after they changed the name to soloist? No, you know, I tell you what, Sam's dad, I I I hadn't been to Shopworn in a time for a while because recently when I'd been there they didn't have the kinds of watches that I liked. I mean, they didn't have the brands I liked. And I don't know what they were thinking when the price went up. Here comes that noise again. So I'm going to turn this down a little and I'll try to talk a little closer to my microphone so you don't have to put up with the racket outside. Um, that there are more and more discount places, secondary markets for the watches. Is that you used to have, and then what's happening, not only with shop worn now soloists, is that they're including all kinds of things as well in other luxury items beside watches, and so you'll find a purse or you know fancy jewelry and things like that there too. Hello, gang fun from Santiago. Okay, is that Santiago, Cuba? Santiago, I think there's another one in Chile. Which Santiago is it from? And everyone has a machine gun under their beds. That's the U.S. Nigel. Soloist, the entire structure is different. So, uh, I'll tell you, Dominic, that's a good point. One of the things that's going to be interesting to see if with the change structure, whether or not they're going to get more, quote, realistic about the prices, unless they got rid of everybody who worked there. I don't know what they did. I don't know what the change could have been a buyout. It could have, we don't. It's sort of hard to know, or some smart marketing guy comes and says, "Look, you guys, if you do this and this and this, your bottom line's going to go up." God knows what happened with that. They never ask us, and I think they should, Dominic. I think the ones that go out of business haven't asked us at all, and I think they should because our interests and their interests are linked. We want watches; they want to sell watches. What better combination could you have? Do you like titanium watches? By and large, no. I had one I was looking at that that I did like. The reason I don't like titanium is too light. The feeling just feels very light, um, and I don't know. I guess they're pretty. For sports watches where you're banging it a lot with different things, they might be a good idea. And I did learn, like I said, I learned from, what was the watch? I forgot the name of the watch, but it was titanium and felt just right. It had a nice heft to it. I wonder if some of these places aren't changing because they can't survive on watches alone. Well, that could be part of it. I think another part might be, Brian, is that they're sort of like they figured, well, if people like this kind of luxury item, a watch, they may like these as well. And since we're paying for this, for having an online site set up and doing all this stuff, and we might as well kick in these other things and see what happens. I think for the same reason that the a lot of the luxury good places started selling watches. I think watches, well, I don't know. I guess these other luxury items do too. God knows what, some of the things that are, you know, if I get a watch, my wife gets something. And so, uh, yeah, Grand Seiko snowflakes are nice watches. You know, there are all kinds of things that I found out that I have all kinds of rules for what I like and what I don't like. And one of my favorite watches breaks every one of those rules. So, you know, there's not much I can do about it. My Fabergé has got it's just this wonderful watch. I like wind up. It's automatic. I definitely like exhibition back so I can see stuff. This one's got a solid back. That watch is more fun to complain about, and I love it to wear. Ah, why you're doing this? Hey, Eric, what are your thoughts about Piaget 71 versus Girard-Perregaux GP 3100 movements in terms of horology? Eric, that's a great question, and I have no idea what the exact dimensions or the functions. I think the GP 3100, some version of that has been used in a lot of different watches. I mean, non Girard-Perregaux. I believe that was the base movement in the Vacheron Constantin overseas. But like I said, I'm not sure. Um, I have my Harry Winston has I think it has, yeah, it has a Girard-Perregaux. I think it is a Girard-Perregaux movement. In addition to the biretrograde, the Agenor biretrogrades in it, the Piaget, I don't know much about. You know who could tell you something on, especially on the Piaget, would be Federico. He used to work for Piaget, but that's one I just couldn't tell you about. Almost, if the watch is too light, you feel cheated. Yeah, you're missing something. I don't know why. Yeah, the heft of a rock. They could put a rock in a watch that I wore. Oh boy, it's got a nice heft to it. I don't know. There's something about the right amount of heft. This one has just enough. But it's a pretty, when you look at it, it's like very much a gentleman's watch. It's pretty thin, and yeah. Does Frederic Piguet still exist as a movement company, or did Blancpain purchase it? Well, actually, here's the funny thing about that, Truman. Frederic Piguet owned Blancpain, okay? Swatch bought them both, and then it sort of renamed it. It was Frederic Piguet became the movement for Blancpain and was sort of given, I think, a Blancpain kind of name for it. So Chile. Okay. Hey, Jim. I'm glad I knew it was one of those two. I'm glad I knew that. My geography is a little better over in the Americas than it is elsewhere. Yeah, no, that's Frederick Piguet. I don't know that it's like Lamania in this respect. Lamania was bought by Swatch, which ended up with ETA, or ETA bought it. I guess it must have been Swatch probably. And Lamania is just like super nice movements. Um, Daniel Roth, the when he was working for the Chomet brothers for Blanc Brigade, he was using Lamania movements. Now, where are Lamania movements now? Sometimes you'll see here's that noise again. Sometimes you'll see a reference to an ETA. It'll have ETA something something reference number, uh, like ETA/Lamania. Um, not sure how many of those they have like that though. Do I ever buy watches from major online retailers? I'd buy a watch from a drug dealer. I have no bottom line, as long as it wasn't stolen. I was thinking if a guy goes out and he's got a whole bunch of drug money. Oh boy, I'm gonna go buy uh, Philippe Dufour. I don't want that Philippe Dufour anymore. I gotta sell it to Bill. He'll buy anything. Yeah, no, I tell you, trying to think online major retail. Yeah, I bought them from Droma Shop. They're a pretty big one. And there's another one. Forgot the name of it. I got her a Beauvais, a really nice gold Beauvais. Trying to think, I can't remember that, but they're a big online retailer. Um, I missed my chance to get anything from what was it, the timepiece gentleman, I'm afraid. Oh yeah, really? I didn't know that, Truman. That Lamania was a previous paddock complication. Yeah, no. I'm trying to think. There was some kind of. I think that Daniel Roth may have gone to work for Lamania for a while before he, like right out of what he did. Yeah, Roth was approached or applied for the position at Brigade when the Chomet brothers took over, and so I'm not sure what his connection was, but he had some kind of connection with Lamania, but he wasn't like one of their main designers. He used their movements. Now he may have done some work for them too. I don't know. To me, I don't know why. One of the most disappointing things that ever happened, I think, was for Patek Philippe to go whole hog in for a silicon hairsprings. I just it sort of like wrecked the whole image for me. It just something was wrong about it. Do I think that Hoyer quartz watches? I don't know how you could. I mean, most quartz watches are pretty cheap. I don't know what Hoyer. Um, I don't I don't know anything about quartz really, other than I know something about the FP Jorn quartz. He made that himself rather than using somebody else's. But I really don't know too much about that. And you know, years ago. Okay, here's an old guy story. Years and years ago, um, I was in graduate school and I had written my first book and published it. And I was given what for a graduate student was a very, very nice advance. And so I went to talk to this professor of mine he was like pretty world famous professor and published a lot of books and things. And so I asked him, I said, well, I said, here I am. And they gave me all this money to write this book. And I did. And I said, so how do you gauge what something is worth? And he said, what you get is what it's worth. And so if Hoyer Quartz is getting what they asked for, then that's what it's worth. If the people are not buying it because of the price, then it's not worth it. That's pretty much the way I look at value in watches too. They can get it, why not? Christopher Ward, the 1240 millimeter, 36 millimeters for a 6.5 wrist. 6.5. I don't know. I probably guess the 36. Not sure. Hey, Eric, you're in the rabbit hole of models. We all are. We're in the rabbit hole, some rabbit hole. During the Priest watch acquisition, I still love my VCA. Oh my God, yes. You have one of those? Oh, that watch is one of my favorites ever. Um, that is the reference that Eric has, in case you didn't pick up on VCA. It's Van Cleef and Arpels, and the watch is the RDC Edward Dyer, which means time here and time elsewhere. That was the one that uh, Jean-Marc Viderec did for Van Cleef and Arpels. After they said, well, we want, they had the first ones. They had the first one um, by Pierre Arpels. All right. By the way, too, if you got a smaller wrist and you like something, but you want something really, really interesting and a very classy watch, that original one by Pierre Arpels, you can find some good buys on that. And they're hand wound. They're really a very thin watch. They are what he considered a true gentleman's watch, and that's he did the design. It's really neat. I got a picture of it. He did the original design on a napkin. Okay, did it. And so I looked at the design that he had, and it looks almost identical to what they finally came up with. Yeah, you were, man. I don't want to know what you paid for it because probably a lot less than I did. Yeah, this is one of the things I was gonna one of the other topics that Rancher gave me. Oh, I want to talk about this is so we ended up with this topic. But one of the interesting things about about getting a watch, you're looking for one thing and you find something else. It's sort of finding watches by serendipity. The same thing happened to me with my Urban Jurgensen. I had a deal I was making with on a Daniel Roth Papillon fell through at the last second, and I went, it was off. I went to go cry on my beer, and I stumbled across all of these watches that they were selling at a very good price. They were way discounted because Cardi-Voot and Lannon had just bought um, Urban Jurgensen, and so Urban Jurgensen was getting rid of all of their stock because they were going to bring in all new watches with Cardi-Voot and Lannon's crew. I don't know. I think they're going to be still using some of the same movements, but I guess they wanted them all. Yeah, yeah, been quite a big emotion, man. Well, look, guys, I tell you, usually my timekeeper is here, but not today. But I got to run. My half hour's up. I'll take Port Water Dog's comment. Hey, Portuguese water dog lady, how you doing, man? Enjoying listening. Oh, good. Uh, right now you're looking for a vintage. Oh wow, whoa! That VC mystery dial is really a very neat one. Um, the LeCoultre. I didn't know that was. Yeah. Hey, listen, I tell you, that would be a fun one. Everybody, uh, Port Water Dog is looking for this really cool watch that was called a mystery watch because you can't, it's like the dial seems to be floating in there and then it's got some diamonds. If anybody sees a good deal on that, let us know and we can pass it on to Port Water Dog. Oh boy, you guys, you can probably hear the racket out there. So uh, anyway, uh, all you guys have a have a good week and be safe. And I'll see you next week. Take care.